Good day. It's day 152. We're back in New Hampshire. We're back in the Whites. So we're started really at the base of Mount Washington. I think the road is called 302. And we're going to hike southbound over 3 days to where we had ended our New Hampshire Whites hike at the northbound descent from Kinsman. So that'll complete that section. So we're running with full packs. So now we're heading up, I guess it's called Ethan Pond Trail, part of the Appalachian Trail. It's a cold morning. It's all right, today's going to be a relatively short hike. We're hiking to Zeland Hut, 7.3 miles. A little bit of climbing, not too bad. Should be a relatively easier day. Now the trail is pretty easy in regards to smooth, nothing sketch, and nice stairs along the way, or just real gradual stuff. But it's steep and it just keeps going. I'm only like a quarter of the way up and I still have 1,300 and something feet to climb of this. So what's interesting is that we've got through, I think, what I consider to be 3 of the anxiety areas. These are areas that, you know, a lot of the times we go out and we hike and we have plans and not too worried about it. It's all going to work out. But obviously the 100-mile wilderness was a point of anxiety. It always has been. It's like, how are we going to do that? There were some problems and challenges. It ended up working out, right? So we were able to slack pack. That all worked out. And then getting to Baxter and doing the Birches thing and trying to make sure we qualified as through hikers and that we could get a spot. And what if we didn't get a spot, what would we do? And yeah, there was a lot of anxiety with that. And then the third was Katahdin itself, and the anxiety of making that climb and getting to the top, but also getting down on unknown trails at an unknown time, but to the point where we had to meet a shuttle driver at a specific time. So that worked out too. So all those things worked out. So now we're at the anxiety of the Whites. And yeah, so I'll be really looking forward to getting past the Whites. I mean, weather here is a concern. I mean, the top of Washington was below freezing. And you never know how it's going to be. I think we're going to be okay, but you never know. And so the funny thing about anxiety is that even when things work out, your human brain doesn't look at that and go like, see, I had nothing to be anxious about. It uses more of a, I think for most people, a survivor bias position where you're like, see, it worked out because my anxiety helped. You know, because I was anxious, we averted disaster. So, yeah, and so you continue to be anxious about things. And that's something we fight, right? Something I fight. Anyways, be glad to be through the Whites. On. All right. So what's your trail name?
My trail name is Summer Dreams. Nice to meet you, Chase.
And you have a vlog?
I do have a vlog. I just started. I got inspired by all of you. It's called Summer Dreams.
Summer Dreams. All right. And where you're heading northbound?
So it's called Summer Dreams on 80. I'm northbound. I'm trying to go all the way out to Route 2.
All right, cool. And how's it been going so far?
My knees disagree, but my heart agrees.
There's the knee.
My brain is trying to synthesize the endorphins and the adrenaline and the lactic acid combination.
Awesome. All right, thanks for talking to us.
Lovely. It was so great to meet you.
The higher we climb, the colder it's getting. We're down to 50 degrees now. And at some point I'm going to have to put on my fleece layer. It's dropping fast. 10 minutes later, it's 48 degrees. Woo! All right, Ethan Pond. Woo! All right, we're here at Ethan Pond Shelter. We are not staying here. We just stopped to use the privy. It's right off the trail. The shelter is. And nice privy. They actually supply toilet paper, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. So a lot of the section that we've been hiking from that last shelter heading towards the hut has been barge boards, with little puddles and mud between them. And so yeah, a lot of water. The interesting thing about the barge boards is just the condition. Some are great and some are less than great, and or gone. And so you just kind of have to use your common sense on where to step and what not. Like that barge board is probably not the best place to rely on. So yeah, like I said, some are good, some are they're ready to be replaced with new ones or gone, like this second one here. And there's a lot of places where you just kind of have to hop on a rock and get to the next spot. You can see the barge boards down there, and I got to get from here to there. So we'll turn the camera off and figure it out. Yeah, this is a particularly bad section. It was almost impossible to get across that little puddle of water without getting your feet a little wet. And now we're on these barge boards. You can kind of see that they're not great, but what's coming up looks even worse. They're well-placed rocks. So again, how do you get from here to there? Look at those. Crackle underwater. Yikes. I was hoping to get through this section without my socks getting wet, but I can tell you that I've already failed. And no, I don't want to get them soaked, but water has seeped in. I'm just trying to make the best of it. It's kind of amusing though. I mean, all you see are nails sticking up where boards used to be. And the boards, in some cases, are submerged, so they're still there, but they're underwater. This is a bridge crossing, I think it's called the PMIG River. Pretty cool. And now the trail's turned into this, which is just a pleasure to walk on. So you got like very small gravel and pine needles. Pretty smooth. No climbing. Yeah. My understanding it goes like this for quite a while. Towards Zeland Hut. This is where we're going. We have 2.5 miles to go. And yeah. So, where do we stay once we get to Zeland Hut? For those who don't know, when you're in the Whites, this whole area is run by a group called AMC. And the AMC controls and has a lot of rules. These huts are designed for people who, like families that come up for the weekend or whatever, and it's $140 a night per person, and it includes your dinner and your breakfast and actually some kind of entertainment, which is odd. And so that's not really set up for thru hikers. These huts typically have an option for up to 2 thru hikers to elect to work for stay. And if you do that, you get like an hour and a half of sweeping or something. And then you get to sleep on the floor of the kitchen dining area, I think, typically. And you also get to eat leftovers. Now the negative is, well, I guess somewhat of a negative, you have to work, but the real negative is that you can't be in the way of the paying customers. And so when they start getting ready for breakfast in the morning, you got to get out of there pretty early. But it actually would work for Buzz and I, so I don't know. We're going to give it a shot and see if it's available. So for Buzz and I, paying $140 a person just for a bunk to sleep in seems kind of absurd. Though we're willing to do it if it's our only option. The other option is to tent camp, and you have to be there are very specific areas you're allowed to tent camp in, and we really don't know what's available at the Zeland Hut around there. Supposedly there's a caretaker that can work it out for you and tell you exactly where you're allowed to camp. Now, a lot of guys, a lot of hikers will do Oh, so much for our easy sand trail, gravel trail. A lot of hikers will do stealth camping where you're not supposed to, but they find an open spot in the along the trail, just off the trail. And I've seen a few up here already, like by that river where we crossed. I saw 2 tent sites, and you can tell. And the idea would be, if you're going to do that, which technically you're not allowed to, but if you're going to do it, pick a site that's obviously being used by other people, so you're not trampling new growth, etc., creating a new site. Anyway, so maybe they find us a tent site. Maybe we stealth camp. Maybe we work for a stay. I don't know. All right, so the trail has been nice like this. We just came upon a section that on Far Out app is called the White Wall Slide. And it's kind of cool. See all the rocks below us. And you can see all the rocks above us. And you can see where they break off from up there. Wow. So I guess these are the Zeland Falls. We're very close to the Zeland Falls Hut. All right, Buzz and I left the Zeland Falls shelter. We decided that the crew, which is the one lady running it, just seemed to have kind of an attitude. We didn't want to ask her and deal with, can we please stay here, please? So we left. We also got water from the thing, but the water at the shelter actually came out kind of very discolored. So we're now using this area where the waterfall is as our water source. And it's clear. And that's what we're doing. We're now walking to Zeacliffs for tent sites. These are the Zeas Cliffs. I think it's Zeas Cliffs. Cool. All right, we're in a kind of what's called a stealth camping spot, not an official spot, and we have limited areas that we can put a tent up. All right, so we had to make some accommodations. There was no really good tent sites other than one that didn't have some sort of flaw. So we set up the Durston here, but it's actually sitting on giant roots that stick up, so you can't actually use it as a bed. And we're just using it to store things in case if they get wet from dew or from rain. And we put the 2 pads in the double tent, the Z-Packs. Yeah. Good news is that'll probably keep us warmer. Temps are down to 40. Let me see what they are right now.
Probably in the 30s.
43. It's still early, so they'll be in the 30s for sure. And maybe even down to freezing. So I'm going to put my water filter, sleep with it for sure, so it doesn't freeze, because freezing the water filter will destroy it. I have every layer on that I can. Woo!